Hi, Mash. Welcome back to our fun session. I know you're a fun loving person and you have a lot of things to share with us. So, let me start with a question. If you were not a doctor, what would you have become?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Farhan. I'm really enjoying this conversation with you,
Thank you.
and hopefully audiences will find it helpful and interesting. So yeah, well, if I was not a doctor, of course, probably many of my friends know that I would be a full-time artist. So that's something that I can tell without any doubt.
So, a full time artist. So, dig into a little bit of artistry. What do you do? What is your art like?
So Farhan, my art and interest in art goes back to my childhood. I actually mentioned in my our first conversation that my father was a draftsman. I mean, he in his downtime he used to draw. That actually uh, you know was very fascinating
Inspiring,
experience
also.
for
Yeah.
me and inspiring, right? So I was always interested in. I was doing all the biology drawing for my friends in school, any magazine cover and illustrations or stage designing. So all sorts of things I was doing during my school and college years. And but then I came to United States, and I was fortunate that the hospital that I was working, and Hahnemann University Hospital, next to that building is the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts, which is the first art college in United States. And how more lucky I can be, So I found that very, very, interesting. And when I was seeing patient, I know that this building is next to me. So in my downtime or, the lunchtime or after works, I started going there to that institute and started mingling with a lot of artists. So that actually opened my eyes in the art world, in Western art world and everything. So um I became a kind of a professional from that point. It goes back to 20 years ago. Um, I and the alumni, became the alumni of Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts. I go there every week to practice my drawing, and I became very serious about my painting. I have a studio in my house, and so far I have done a couple of solo shows, and I also do workshop. I give workshop to the artist who wants to learn my techniques. So I say that my nighttime job is painting, and my daytime job is physician.
Wow, it's and you have an eye that I have never actually realized that that was an art. And you have to give us a little bit more details. I have seen your art in terms of photography. I've seen your art in on um, where you draw with different type of colors, and you also teach kids, coaching, and inspire them. You've been a coach for one of my nephews.
Hmm.
um, what do you tell a person who wants to draw? How can
So
they inspire?
I'm glad you asked me this question, Farhan. I think this is something, a dilemma that I see in many folks. I tell them very simply, if you can write, you can draw. Just
Yeah,
imagine that the letters that you write, those are not very easy, right? It's not a
yeah.
one line, and you like make a move of your fingers. So if you can write, you can draw. Now, until and unless you really try hard, you don't know whether you have a talent or not. We struggle also. I mean, we can say, well, you have a talent, so you are an artist, and I don't have a talent. Did you ever actually test yourself? Did you test, and did you really practice, or did you try? um, why don't you try it? Why don't you try and give it a time and see if you have a talent inside you? Okay, so that's what I tell people. Actually, I didn't know that I was gonna be little. I wouldn't say that I'm successful. I'm gonna say that, I didn't know that I can come to that level.
An admired artist now. You can
Correct.
consider yourself an admired one. People seek your advice, and you have conducted classes all over in Philadelphia, but you had a recent exposure to New Zealand. Tell us
Right.
a little bit about that experience.
Oh, it's really really wonderful experience. The as you know that New Zealand is one of the country that recently became very very popular because of their prime minister, and
Yeah.
it happened during that time. I usually share my work in my social media and Facebook and Instagram. So the host who actually invited me to go to New Zealand, Ginny, she actually is was following my work in Facebook, and she really loved it. I She can connect with me with her interest and techniques. So she basically asked me to go to New Zealand, and she hosted a workshop with like 10 artists in that area. So I was there for a week, and I it is one of the best experience that I ever had in my life. I mean, all you do is painting and drawing and gossiping with people and having a good time. You have no other, stress
Yeah.
or any other things to do. So, yeah, that
Mash, I've
those
been
days were
fortunate
really good.
enough to see those real life pictures of yours and the beauty of vastness, scenic beauty
Oh,
behind your hosts' homes. You
yeah.
actually, they were great hosts, and I hope you get to go back again, because I know from what you have told me, there was a place that really inspired you. Of the places that you have traveled, I know New Zealand is a place that you love to go. Is there any other place that you actually would like to go, even for your art, that you want to revisit?
Oh, absolutely. I like you mentioned, I also do photograph,
Yeah.
and photography. My photography is a little unconventional. I take photograph from the walls and pavements where there is a lot of chaos going on, and I find it very abstract images. So those things are actually not existing in Western world, mainly
Mm.
because of we are cleanliness and the walls are very neat and clean. So, but again, my fascination actually for art, painting, and photographs coming from my younghood, where the city I grew up. The chaos, the vibrancy, and the life, those cities is unbelievable. If you ask me, what is your best cities or country that you wanted to go back and travel? It's very interestingly that the city I grew up, the Dhaka, in a
Wow.
heartbeat, I'll go there again because it is
Mash,
a very vibrant, chaotic, and full of life. And that I find in any other cities in India and probably in Pakistan. I didn't have an opportunity to go there, but the people, the they're it's an environment that makes you very very exciting all the time. And obviously, other countries like Italy and France, those are full of art, history, and the sculpture and the paintings. I mean, it is something that I really admire and want to go back again.
and I want to share two facts about your work that you just explained, how it inspired me to follow your work closely. My dad was in Dhaka before the war happened, and he was in army, and he used to tell me of his lovely time he had in Dhaka as a army, and he used to love the sweets and everything. And when you one time showed me the wall, that was actually a painting with multiple layers of paints, and some were chipping away. One of your paintings hang in my office, and I look at it every day. And your work is amazing, and you have donated to some of the charities that I work for and I help. Is there a group of people that you are most passionate about helping in the world? Could you share that with us?
Oh, absolutely, Farhan. Thank you for your kind words again. Yeah, there are a lot of you know um, problems and
Yeah.
the diseases and the uh, the sadness going on around the world. uh, of course my heart goes out to people who don't have a job right now. you know
Yeah.
uh, we are so lucky that we still have a job. On a daily basis we can actually come to work and have a paycheck and put food on the table.
Yeah.
There are millions of people don't have that luxury. I may have a little bit long hair. That's all I had this problem in my life during this COVID crisis. But I know that people don't have enough food.
Yeah.
That's the basic part of your living, right?
Yeah.
So right now, yes, I would like to help people who are in need of this crisis, during this crisis, you know medically, by knowledge, the instruction, and the like financial. uh, if I can do this with my wisdom and the specialty, if I can do this with my art, yes, this is my goal. Actually, there are a lot of charities, there are a lot of in Facebook or social media, they're actually donating art paintings to raise money. Yes, whenever I get the opportunity, I do that, and I would love to continue to do that.
Thank you, Mash. And I have to bring it up the attention to our listeners that recently you've been promoting um, art of many artists that have been ignored during COVID-19. Many of these shows have been cancelled, and you've been bringing people's attention to them. And I think that's a part of the society that we forget about in everything. And they are also people who deserve um, help from people. My question is, I want to get back to, you are there's a few other things that you love about, and one of them is running. And you have been an inspirational person for me to start running, and my wife, you have inspired her to be a runner. And I think she has been able to achieve what she did through your inspiration. So tell us a little bit about running. How
Thank
did
you.
you get into that?
Well, first of all, thank you to you and your wife to to bring our team. And I have to tell you that it's a very tough job to motivate people for running. I tried my best over the years. I was able to motivate, not whole lot, very few, but still that's not bad. So you're one of them,
Thank
and
you. Yeah.
it's really really good. So I was never an athlete. I was never really physical person. I was, if I have a time, I would rather paint than run or exercise. So my friend, who actually is a marathon runner, is a really professional marathon runner. He probably did more than 40 marathon run race in his 20 years time, within 20 years expansion actually. So he always used to tell me that, Mashiul, do this one. You will thank me and you'll be grateful to me the rest of your life. And he was very passionate about it. He was pushing me. So he motivated me to run. And once I have done one first marathon, actually, I thought this is probably the best gift he has ever given me. Anybody has given me, actually. Okay. Because
Wow.
you really feel it is a mental challenge, the marathon run. It is actually self-determination, as you can imagine, and accomplishing that. And then you see that you are probably the one of the most healthy person on earth. It makes you feel really positive, and it is a positive feeling. So I really wanted to continue that rest of my life. And one thing that I wanted to tell you, we all are busy of our in our profession. We want to make money, we want to have this good life and everything. If your health is not good, then there's no meaning of earning money. You can't enjoy them,
Yeah.
and your family will be in jeopardy and everything. So our life is a gift, so we need to take care of that. We have actually only two missions on earth, I believe. Help others, make your life worth, and be creative. So I think I think that's what comes with your good health.
Yeah.
And I do that because I run because of my painting. I run because of my profession, actually, because I need to be healthy and fit to do my job. Um, and that is probably is motivating me to be on top of things and keep running and keep walking.
Very nice. You have inspired many people, and Bengal's Runners Club is one of those people who you have been friends with for a long time and helping them keep running. So that's great. And one of the things you mentioned, and you inspired Aisha also, as you always said, that the women from our culture, Southeast Asia, they don't come up as much in sports activities, and it's important for them to do that too.
Yeah, but it is changing. The landscape is changing.
Yeah.
I think we're becoming, much more open society
Yeah.
and much more, inclusive society. And Aisha, yeah, has been, leader of this
Yeah.
group,
Women
and she's
awareness.
also,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I think it's very important, and I think we need some kind of a role model like Aisha, and
Thank you.
yeah.
Mash, are you a fan of music at all?
I am, although I'm not, my interest is not that
Big on music.
versatile.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm still kind of old-fashioned. Uh, I still listen my native music, and especially Ravindra Sangit, the Tagore music.
Oh, nice.
Um, yeah, I'm
Have you
fan of
ever
that.
have you ever come across in your life in America in Philadelphia a somebody really famous that you were like, oh, I am surrounded by this celebrity and people around him. Is there ever been a
Yeah, I mean, Philadelphia is a city of artists, actually,
hmm,
and it has a very, very rich history. So, I'm always a Tagore fan, the Rabindranath Tagore that you probably know. He got literature, the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913, and he's our heart, actually. He's like a Shakespeare of India, and Bengali particularly. So, you know, when I came to Philadelphia, the Rabindranath was good in everything. Not only is it just music, he's a novelist. He even a painter at the end of his career. And I found that he actually exhibited his work in one of the gallery in Philadelphia,
hmm.
Newman and Saunders Gallery. And guess what? I was probably the second Bengali was able to show
Wow.
my work in that gallery. So I'm not at all comparing me with Rabindranath, but when this gallery actually offered me to show my work, and I told them a story of Rabindranath that he did his show back in 1935 or 40, somewhere there. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, so that's fascinating.
That's
And
fascinating.
I mean, there are a lot of other artists like Thomas Yakin and Mary Cassatt. They all went to the same Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts that I go, actually. So I feel very proud that I'm one of the member that are associated with those institute that actually brought a lot of good artists.
And Mash, one of the things that I've realized that through after conversations with you, art is one of those things that doesn't discriminate races, religions, regions, right? You are
Yeah,
welcomed because of your art. People from New Zealand invited you within their homes, their hearts, and that's something to cherish and maybe have people opt more for art because it will make them open-minded and accept
correct,
others.
correct. Absolutely. I mean, if you look at any painting, abstract painting, for example, it has an international language.
Yeah,
And it's so you're absolutely right. I mean, it's not black or white or Muslim or Christian. It is a painting
it's a
that
painting.
everybody can appreciate.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can connect
Um,
with
and I've
every
seen
level of people.
And because when the artist is actually, his art is like recognized around the world, um, a Muslim prince is buying an artist's work who is Christian, and that tells us that there's a bond of that art can connect between us, the love that it can bring between us.
Correct.
um, my one of my last questions for you is, Mash, if you had a no limits excursion, you have 1 month vacation, free access to travel anywhere or do whatever you want to do, an unlimited budget, what are you going to do with those 30 days?
Of course, I'm not going to go back and forth West Philly and East Philly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not the person who would go to Caribbean and have a package tour. No. Yes, this is a very fascinating question. Actually, I wish I had that opportunity. Yes, I will go to Europe and in a heartbeat, and with my sketchbooks and everything, and try to explore things in a different eyes, because the now I grew in my paintings and arts and everything, so I can actually see things in a very different ways. Of course, I wanted to the two uh, part of the world that I always admire. One is in the West is the Europe, and
Yeah.
of course I'm living in USA, so I'm not excluding that actually. I mean, of course, our country here is much more fascinating, but usually people who live somewhere don't get excited. So
Yeah.
from that point, I'm saying, yeah, in the West is a Europe, and in the East, India, and India, Bangladesh, Pakistan. I think this subcontinent actually is full of history. And as I know that history goes much, uh, back, and then much older than any Western history. And it's full of art and literature and everything. So if I go to any of the state in India, I mean, you know that it's very different. It's
Yeah.
very vibrant and
Vibrant.
versatile. So, yep.
Wonderful. And I think that those countries have footprint of different times that you can see, that is sometimes not able to see in newer worlds like in America and other things, because it's been run by only one type of government and not many different. In India, you have Hindus, then Muslims, then British came, then went back. So it's a footprint of everything. Fascinating. Um, my last question for you is there any means something really hilarious in your life, something you did that either you or somebody else still makes fun of you in your travels, in your art, or anything?
Well, I mean, my classmates always make fun of me. They have a lot of hidden story that people
Hidden
do not
stories.
know, right?
Okay. Okay.
That's always the case. So it's interesting you asked me. My most fascinating stories is all about the art again.
Okay.
I was in class grade like 6, and my art teacher, uh, he gave us a homework to draw a pair of shoes. Okay,
Okay.
so I was really excited because I'm really good in drawing from that point. So I put a shoe in front of me, and I really did a good work, and I was so proud. And next day I submitted, and my art teacher, he actually wasn't making any really any happy face or anything, and I got nervous. I got nervous. I thought that my shoe was the best in our class. But he's not saying anything, so I got really nervous. So he called me. He said, I wish I could give you 10 out of 10, but I'm not giving you 10 out of 10. I don't think I'm giving you any good grades. Then I got really depressed and disappointed. And then he said, you know, the reason I'm telling you, because after you draw all these things, you wrote that pair of shoes underneath. Why did you do that? I can see it's a pair of shoes. It's not mango. you know. So
Okay,
you don't need to
so
put a title,
so
right?
you don't
So the
need a title
picture,
for
yeah,
every.
if the picture speaks worth of, 1,000 language, so we know that. So I think from that point, it gave me a lesson actually. So when you try to express it fully, and you don't have to describe it actually.
Wow,
So that was a, yeah,
that's
that was a,
that's a good lesson, because Mash, art, when you look at it, everybody
yeah,
said that, and your example now brings me that to question. When you look at a piece of art, I may be interpreting it differently than you standing next to
correct,
me. So the
correct,
artist should leave it to the imagination of the viewer, and
absolutely,
make the best out of it. And
correct.
that's what where our takeaway message would be. Is there a advice, life advice, that you want to conclude today's conversation, if somebody gave you or you have for us?
Well, I would like not to pretend like, I'm a wise man or Dalai Lama or something like that, or Gandhi. I'm not. But I would like to share the good experience and the bad experience that I try to do. And so, what actually I've seen so far. With my gray hair and gray mustache, I can tell you that so far, what the one thing that actually always pushes me, that whatever you do it with passion, okay, and you don't put any other things there actually. Do it 100% with your heart, okay. You don't have to have a brain, you don't have to have a logic, and you have to have a love for what you're doing. I think that will make your life easier. It will take you further, and you'll be successful.
Beautiful. Very well said, Mash. Thank you so much. With
Oh,
that
thank you.
message, I think the inspiration of doing things with passion is going to help us make this world a better place. So thank you for your time, and I wish you health and wellness.
Oh, thank you so much, Farhan. It was a pleasure talking to you. It was very, very nice experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you.